A boy has posted a book review on his account that mostly consists of complaints. It's a fortunate day that a girl replies to his review. She also has read this book and has found someone first time who has also read it. They exchange messages for a while, and then she asks him if he wants to grab dinner together. His heart flutters, and he wonders why she wants to meet a person like him. A lot of thoughts come into his mind, like a three boy making scenarios in real life. He also wonders what she is like. She is a book reader. He makes an image of her as a nerd sweet girl. He accepts her invitation, but then regrets it. He comes outside where he is constantly in a chat with her and sends his standing position, right in front of the clock at the east exit. His heart is beating fast, and due to less confidence in himself, he thinks she might have seen him and left. When he is about to turn to go home, a girl points to him and asks if he is Yuta-san. Here the main character's name is introduced. Her personality is entirely different from what he imagined. She is a smart, pretty girl with long hair, the opposite of a nerd sweet girl. Yuta is flushing and his heart is fluttering. He is confused and wonders what he should do. He had no idea she would be this beautiful. She is taking him to a place where she has reserved a table for them right across the street. Yuta is still embarrassed and thinks that it has been a long someone has asked him out. She might be regretting to meet him. He looks at her with corner eyes where their eyes make contact. She smiles and asks him if something is wrong. He diverts his eyes and denies it. They stop by in front of the restaurant. Yuta is surprised because it's such a fancy restaurant. However, she has already come here and has been wanting to come here for a long time. In a sudden statement, she says that it's a perfect place for a date. She says it in such a way that he thinks it's their date and gets into thoughts that he considered it their first offline meetup. They had just met and wonders if he is being tricked. He says they should get to know each other before going on a date, but she clears his misunderstanding that she would recommend him this place for a date if he finds trouble finding a spot. It leaves him frozen on the ground. They step into the restaurant and pass through the crowd. She is leading and he is following her embarrassingly because he can listen to gossip about him that they can't be a couple and she might be his escort or something. They sit across the table where he also takes it a coincidence to be sitting with her and does not want to expect anything. She orders glasses of beers and cheers for their first offline meetup. However, Yuta can't talk with her properly anytime soon, so he decides to rely on the power of beer. He gulps the whole glass in one sip and makes his mouth soaked with beer. Out of worrisome, she takes a napkin and tries to wipe it off, but she is so close to him that he can see the cleavage of her chest of her hot body. He backs down and shivers. She asks him if she offended him. He denies it and that he did not mean it, but being nice to him won't do good anything. He is not good-looking and rich, and why she still invited him. She snickers and says that she always loved the book named About Love, and finding someone who also likes this book made her glad. So it was natural for her to be curious about the person and know about him. He apologizes to her for being a gloomy person, and he is also a loser who does not have a girlfriend. That book is also out of his reach, and he did not take it seriously. She changes her pose to say if not having a girlfriend makes him a loser, then would he like her to be his girlfriend? She reaches her hand to his chin that if he gets a girlfriend and loses his virginity, then he won't be a loser. Yuta gets flustered. She is using her sweet voice to mess up with his weak points. She backs down and laughingly says she was joking and apologizes to him for joking. She adds that even if he is a loser, she finds him cute. He looks down and says her not to make fun of him, but in his mind, he knows he is falling for her. They come out of the restaurant where she gladly says that the food was very good. But it was a tragic meeting for Yuta. He was panicking the whole time. He choked on the bear, left his wallet on the table, and scattered his coins everywhere, and it was beyond embarrassment. He apologizes to her that she had to see a lot of his embarrassing moments. And to make up for all things, he wants to walk her to the station. It's out of the blue that makes him question his existence. She asks him if he wants to be his escort. While he is processing being her escort, she reaches out her hand to his, but then slides over his hand. Instead, she holds his arm close to her chest. His heart is racing fast. He asks her if she is drunk, and she agrees. He hardly goes with her that she might be messing with him. They will have to go station and say goodbye. It's going to be their first and last date. Since the station is 1 block away, he would like to take a detour so they can spend more time together. He takes a turn for a detour and ends up entering a love hotel district. A chill goes through his spine. She inquires him where he intends to take her to, and he anxiously says that she got it wrong. He did not want to take her there. She adds that she did not come to these hotels before. They say there are no cheap hotels here, only classy and extravagant ones are available. He thinks of her sitting on the bed in a hot night suit and drinking. She comes close to him and whispers if he is thinking something pervy. He backs down and points to the station that it's that way. She pouts and moves her finger around his neck. What if she says she does not want to go station yet? He scratches his hair and asks if they wander a little more. She agrees and asks him not to run away from her suddenly. It's a chance for him to stop being a loser. Her gentle touch is racing his heart fast. He knows she does not have serious plans for him, but still wants to tag along with her. She asks him if they go to take a little field trip in that street. While standing in that love street, she asks him what he wants to do. It puts Yuta in a pool of thoughts that what's going on here, if she is inviting him to the hotel, and what he should answer to her. He loudly says that she should not say such things. What she would do if she was a dangerous person and he did terrible things with her after bringing her up here. She makes an inquiry pose if he would do terrible things with her. He backs down and says he won't do anything with her, but she needs to value herself more. He does not get what he is talking about. She smiles and says she is glad to be able to meet him. He is surprised if it was the right answer. After saying it, she smiles as if nothing happened and they begin to walk. They reach the station and he apologizes to her for bringing her here late. And she does not mind it, she had fun after all. She makes a statement with disappointment that they are already here. They have opposite ways, so she leaves his arms suddenly. He apologizes for making her stay out late and she had to go with someone like him. She replies that she has already said she had fun and besides, she is more interested in him than before. She slips her hand right into his pants pocket and takes out his cell phone that if he ever feels like meeting, he is free to contact her. After saying it, she takes her leave. While on the train, he thinks what would have happened if he had not refused her to go to the hotel. He imagines her taking off her shirt, and then he shrugs his thoughts. He receives a text from her thanking him for today. He notices he is getting excited for nothing, and then realizes he did not get to ask her name. Back at home, he can't sleep and looks at his mobile where he exchanges chats with her. He assumes she would not like to meet him ever again, even if he sends her a message of meeting again. We see she is sitting in a bathtub, soaked in water while texting with him. Yuta comes out of the bath and looks at his phone. It has been 10 days already and she has not even contacted him. He thinks of her statement about meeting her anytime and wants to contact her, but considers that she will assume he has feelings for her. He receives a notification on Twitter that a certain person named Metamoro liked his tweet. He checks his Twitter account and finds out that a mysterious girl also views his tweets. He plans to tweet about watching a movie and ask if anyone is available. There is a possibility she would reply about going there together, but if he does not get any reply, she might think he is a hopeless person. After all these thoughts, he still posts this tweet, and an hour later, he receives a notification that she has liked his tweet. Receiving a single like on his tweet makes him so excited, but he does not want to get into Delulu. He reconsiders the situation that she liked his tweet but didn't text him. He plans to contact online but is so restless that he is being optimistic about the thought that she would like to meet him. All thoughts go in vain, and he sends her a text online and regrets later that she might be ignoring him and thinking he is a pest. We see her in a gym suit and exercising with sweat pouring all over her body. She is glad to see his text that is asking her if she is free this weekend. Yuta is at home and looks at his phone while brushing his teeth. He is all obsessed over his last text. It has been hours since he sent the text but has not gotten a reply from her. Hopelessly, he puts his mobile back in his pocket and then his mobile bugs. She has replied to him that she wants to go with him but is busy this weekend and ends her statement by asking if they go another weekend. It leaves him shocked. He disappointedly goes to his bed with the thought that it's never going to happen, there won't be next time, and he is going to live his life alone again. Suddenly, his phone starts ringing for a call from her, and he receives it. It's from that girl who apologizes to him for calling this late, and if it's all right to talk this late at night. He finally contacted her today, so she was wondering how he was doing. She asks him if he wanted to meet her, and he replies it was just a movie he wanted to see together and asks her in return if she is interested in seeing it with him. He has his mobile right on his right ear, and talking to her on the phone is like she is whispering on his ears. She apologizes to him for not appearing this weekend due to his busy schedule, but she would be available next weekend. He agrees to meet up at that time if it's not much trouble for her. She ends her call with the statement, "Be a good boy and wait for her." She hangs her mobile after saying goodbye, but this goodbye won't let him sleep now. She is also looking at her call log obsessively and finds it cute. Yuta is at the office diligently doing his work with the motive that he will get to see his girl on a weekend. His colleague named Akari Takeneshi interrupts his grinning and shows him documents that if he was the one who made these documents. It's the one that his senpai asked him to do just before the deadline. She strictly shows the contents that tables and numbers don't match, and he agrees to fix it right away, as he was the one who agreed to do it at first. But it somehow annoys Akari, and she asks him if he has plans for a date. He is excited for some reason. Yuta is flustered to listen. He can't call it a date, and before he denies it, his other male colleagues overhear them. They surround him and bombard question on him about his relationship. He is an introverted person who questions how he ended up with extroverted people. He intended to join a game company full of nerds, but ended up coming here because of his parents' wishes. He comes up with an answer that he is going to watch just movie with someone he knows. Akari does not seem interested and returns to her position, whereas his male friends still swarm him. One of them asks him what he is going to wear, and Yuta replies with pants and a shirt. Other colleague finds it so decent and plain as compared to girls who put effort into getting prepared, like their clothes, makeup, and other things. So he has to dress well enough that he does not embarrass her when he walks next to her, otherwise he will get dumped. While they are talking, Akari sees them enviously and wonders what kind of weirdo would like to go with Yuta. She sighs that even Yuta is going to date, and maybe it's her turn to work on dating apps. Back at home, Yuta looks into his cabinet and finds clothes with a foul smell. He does not even have decent clothes. He makes her a picture of that day that she was shining brightly, and her clothes also seem expensive, so he decides to go shopping. He arrives shopping mall on the weekend, and his introverted energy becomes dominant. He feels stands out in the crowd, but encourages himself. While looking at a shirt, a salesman approaches him out of nowhere. He finds the shirt in Yuta's hand really nice, and he keeps on explaining its specifications with exaggerations. Thus, Yuta gets roped by him into trying it and comes out of the trying room. That sellerman has sparkles in his eyes and considers Yuta awesome in this shirt. Yuta is satisfied with the shirt. He wants to be bold and take the plunge this time. He imagines her saying she almost mistook him for someone. After trying out an extravagant outfit, he demands sellerman show him some more gaudy outfits. He ends up buying a shirt worth with cost of 4,300 yen. After taking his bag, he comes out of the shop happily and hopes he can look a bit more presentable with this. But this happiness is destroyed in a moment. That girl passes by him without looking at him, but he immediately recognizes her. He turns to her to at least say hi, but then sees her meeting with a handsome guy. She apologizes to him for being late, and he asks her if he ever gets mad at her for being late. It breaks Yuta's heart into pieces. The days go by with the question of who was that person with her, and the long-awaited day finally arrives. He is wearing his newly bought shirt. Over time, he thought of canceling his plans, but her excitement over this meeting had changed his mind. He finds her in the crowd and sees she has already come waiting for him. However, a man approaches her first and teases her. Yuta first considers she knows that man but observes she is ignoring him, which means he is not someone she knows. Yuta excuses him and speaks up for her that he is the one who is meeting with that girl. That man laughs at Yuta and questions her if she is going to meet him. He makes fun of Yuta that he is dressed like he is playing a hero. She should ditch Yuta and go with him, but she instantly rushes towards Yuta, grabs his arm, and says she was looking forward to seeing him. They move forward on their path, and that man is left frozen on the ground behind. Yuta is embarrassed that if that person whom she met the other day were here, then he would have protected her instead of getting protected. They reach the restaurant where they sit across the table, and Yuta finds her as dazzling as ever. She asks him the reason why he did not approach her at first when he saw her. He diverts his eyes and replies that he thought if a lame person like him called her out, it would bother her. She pokes at his clothes that he is giving off a different impression today, if he is trying to look good for her. He anxiously denies that he thought he should at least try to look like a normal person, but in the end, he got called out for his weird outfit. He is an idiot for trying to look cool when he does not have any fashion sense. She encourages him that she finds it more charming if someone tries to be fashionable in their own sense rather than someone who hits people in hopes of something happening. Yuta gulps and does not want to get his hopes high, but an arrow breaks his heart when she says his outfit is a bit messy. However, they have time before the movie starts, so she asks him to accompany her somewhere. She takes him to the dressing shop and says she wants to play dress-up with Yuta-san, as she is imitating my dress-up darling. She looks at the hanging shirt stand as she is used to it. Yuta wonders if she comes here with that guy as well. She picks a pant on a hanger and puts it right after him. He is thin, so she thinks he would look good in something like this, although she does not know much about men's fashion. Before he processes what's happening, he ends up in the trying room. He listens to the cellarman who asks her if they are on a date shopping, and she agrees with him. He changes his complete outfit and comes out of the room where the cellarman, as always, exaggerates that it looks good on him and shirt gives off the main piece vibe. She also tugs his shirt and admires that it looks good on him. She says it with a bright smile that makes his heart flutter. The cellarman offers him to change his look by using lenses. Yuta takes off his glasses but cannot see her clearly, then she puts them on his eyes where he can see her face with 10,000 pixels. She prefers him the way he is now because it's very much like him. So Yuta decides to keep on wearing them. They are done with his shopping and Yuta is wearing the bought clothes. He is about to take out his cash to give her back, but she declines because it was fun spending time with him. But in return, she requests him to accompany her for shopping again someday. They come out of the shop and sit somewhere. Yuta is in his thoughts that he feels more attracted towards her with each second he spends with her. But if that guy he saw is her boyfriend, then he should distance himself from her. If possible, he wishes to remain ignorant about him, but before he gets too emotionally invested and gets hurt, he needs to clarify things with her now. He initiates a conversation with her that he saw her once in town with someone, and asks her if that guy was her boyfriend. Asan thinks about last week and laughs at him, asking why he did not call out to her then and why he is asking her about his boyfriend. He replies that if that person is her boyfriend, then it would be inappropriate for them to meet like this. She puts her hand on his thigh and pouts if it's just for this reason. It makes him anxious and he cannot think of words to say anything. She informs him that it was her brother he saw with her. Her brother came last week and he had an incident where he was almost stabbed by a girl. After knowing it was her brother, a burden came off Yuta's shoulders. She asks him while reaching out her hand to his face if he feels relieved. He was jealous, right, but Yuta is a dumbass who backs down and says it's not like that. She also pulls back and agrees that they are not like that in a relationship. She gets up and also pulls him to get up as it's movie time already and she's looking forward to it. Yuta is satisfied that in the end it was not her boyfriend and being together with her is enough for him now. They reach the theater on time and have to buy tickets. He hurriedly goes to buy tickets where he thinks he should take the lead at a time like that. It's his first time watching a movie with someone and wonders what people normally do when they sit side by side together. He comes back to her bringing tickets. She is about to give him money for tickets, but he declines to take them. She has already paid him for his clothes, so she pulls back and takes his offer. They enter a cinema that is crowded with couples. The movie starts, but he does not seem to be focused on it even though he was looking forward to it. He is restless and nervous. He does not know where should he rest his hands. They were sitting right next to each other a while ago, but now he feels anxious. It might be because they are in the dark. She comes closer to him saying it feels like they are on a date and holds his shivering hands for the practice of when he goes out with someone for a date. She rests his shoulder over his arm and watches a movie. He is flustered to be in such a situation. He does not care whether it's a real date or not, whether it's all right if even they are not in relation, and whether he is pathetic for not being able to shake off these thoughts. He just truly wishes this move lasts forever. Yuta wonders how much time passed since the movie started. He is so preoccupied with thinking about her scent, the weight of her head on his shoulder, and with thought whether his hands are sweaty or not. But then she removes her hand, which makes him more suspicious about his sweaty hands and about himself if he did something bad. Perhaps it should be him to let go of her hand. She moves down and takes out a handkerchief to wipe out the tears flowing through her cheeks. He is amazed she cries as well. He moves his hand to hold hers but pulls back. She seems to notice it and then again puts her head over his shoulders. The time passes by and the movie ends. Turning on the lights in the theater kicks reality back and he feels like it was a dream. They come out where she thanks him for inviting her to the movie and asks him if there are any differences between the original and the movie as he has already read the original work. Yuta goes shocked again and has no words because he was so mesmerized by her that he could not focus on the movie at all. She gets this bottom rock and asks him if he watched the movie even though he was the one who invited her, or there was something going on in his mind. He says that he was thinking she also cries during movies, so he was quite surprised. She pouts, saying she is also a human. She also cries and gets angry if there is a problem with it. He finds her pouting so cute, but seeing her motionless, he wonders if she got angry over it. He apologizes to her, but then she starts laughing, asking if he thought she is angry. She would not go crazy over something like that. It was just she was teasing him. It's already dark outside. He invited her to watch a movie together, so they should part ways from there, but he does not want to go without knowing her name. He asks her if they should grab a meal after this and looks at her questioning face. She does not need to come if she does not have time. It was just he was thinking of learning her thoughts on the movie. She makes a thinking pose and asks him if he is trying to imply he wants to spend more time with her. She comes close to her, putting her ear next to him to listen to his answer. He finally accepts his feelings and agrees with her. Before they go, she goes to the bathroom to fix her makeup, and at the back, he turns on his mobile phone to look into nearby restaurants. He sees a pop-up Twitter notification from a girl named Amatera-san who asks if he has watched the movie, and if it's all right, she would like to join him. However, he does not pay attention to it and swipes the notification up. Meanwhile, Asan also comes back and joins him to go. We see Amatera-san on her bed without her face revealed, getting excited and hoping he will read it. They fill their belly and come out of the restaurant. It seems they had fun talking about sharing impressions on movies. Their time went by in the blink of an eye, and it's already time to go home. When he was getting down, she offers him to stroll together to get sober up. She takes him across the sea, which is a beautiful place. Yuta looks around and observes there are couples surrounding them. His sight falls on a couple who are about to kiss. Asan makes him attentive, asking where he is looking at. He makes an excuse that he was thinking this place is beautiful. She agrees with him and tells him that this place is known as a date spot at night. She holds her face, saying that she thought he might also like to do something. He closes his eyes and is anxious that it takes more steps for something like this. She pulls back and says she was joking. Yuta also backs down in shock. He annoyingly asks her what if someone gets the wrong idea. She replies she does not go around saying it to anyone, and Yuta is not someone who takes the wrong idea. It leaves him surprised that it is just a game where she cleverly engages with men and keeps them interested, but he does not mind being used and wants to know more about her. He anxiously asks her name. She laughs at first and tells him that her name is Azusa. Now she has told him her name. She wants him to try calling her. He first calls her name using honorifics, but she asks him to use just Azusa. She whispers to him to call her name as she says Yuta. Her voice is electrifying that passes a chill from top to bottom of his body. Then he mends her ears and does not want to misunderstand it. She holds his small finger with hers and asks him to hang out like this again sometime. She even recommends watching movies in his home, and he declines that his home is too cramped. Then they go on their ways. The days pass by and the weekend comes again, but this time he feels an emptiness in his own home. He even enthusiastically cleaned his home, which increased his loneliness with some expectations. He imagines her with someone and tries not to think about it as it's none of his business. To divert his focus, he opens Twitter, which is quiet as usual, but then he checks his notifications. He finds the reply from an unknown person named Amatera he received on the day when he went to watch a movie with Azusa. He does not know what to do now. It has been days since he has not replied, but not replying would also be rude to him. However, he sends her an apologetic reply for being late. She checks her phone and gets pleased that she got a reply from him. She is some cutie pie and has given Yuta a weird name, Dark Knight Sensei. Yugen is alone again in his room and waiting for Azusa to contact him. He is also cautious from his side that if he keeps contacting her every time, she will feel him annoying. He never imagined in his life that he would spend his time with a girl, but now not getting in contact with Azusa makes him feel miserable. His mobile phone rings and sees it's his mother's text, asking if he has found someone to marry yet. It's kind of pressure on him. The marriage is entirely impossible if he has not even a girlfriend yet. He scrolls on the app where ads for marriage mapping ads pop up, and then he throws his mobile that if he uses that app, he would be just fodder for it. Marriage word sounds in his mind, and an image of Azusa as a housewife appears in his mind. She welcomes him home and has already prepared dinner for him. He goes to take a bath, and she also feels to take a bath because she got sweaty while cooking fried food. She undresses her clothes, and with her heavenly bounties, She joins him in the bath. Yuta bangs his head on the table to come out of his imagination. He wonders if it seemed like he has got a girlfriend from this app. Would Azusa try to stop him? His mobile rings again, and this time it's a DM from Amatera, first thanking him for his reply even if it's late. And then she writes a long paragraph where she feels honored to receive a reply from him, calling him sensei, and invites him to hang out with her to watch a movie. Yuta is kinda surprised by who she is, even they are following each other on Twitter. He takes a peek at her account to figure out about her. She has posts with a variety of tastes that Yuta imagines her as an otaku boy and might be calling him sensei is part of his speaking. However, he does not mind seeing the same movie since that guy is out of his way to invite him, but he does not want to overwrite that memory with Azusa just. When he is going to apologize to her for not coming, he sees her DMs that she apologizes to him for continuous messages and informs him about the autograph session with Rion Amatsuki-sensei, the author of the book Devilish Hell. She remembers him saying he likes that book, so she invites him to go there together. Yuta has always been a fan of that book and used to read it in middle and high school days. It has piqued his interest and wants to go now. It might help him to forget loneliness for the time being. He agrees to join her. On the other hand, she looks forward to meeting him. After that, Yuta goes to pick those books from his cabinet and intends to read them by tomorrow. It brings his memories of his past. He reaches the town and exchanges chats with Amatera about the location and the color of their clothes. He is kinda nervous because he has never met someone from the internet except Azusa. He looks around to find that Fatso Otaku, but then Amatera tags his shirt from the back. He turns toward her and gets amazed because that Fatso Otaku boy turns out to be a cute girl. Yuta is surprised to see and apologizes to her for pausing. He considered she is a guy. Amatera sincerely apologizes to him for causing a misunderstanding, but her apology is also in long paragraphs. He kinda feels guilty about Azusa that he is going with some other woman. But still, he asks Amatera to go to the event together. When she notices that she is still holding him, she becomes disappointed in herself and mutters something. So he calms her down. She has looked up in all directions and wants to lead ahead. She takes him in random streets and they end up getting lost. Yuta looks at Google Maps and points out that the building is right behind them. However, he appreciates her help half-heartedly because he does not want to hurt her feelings. They reach the destination and find a long line ahead already made up, which is expected from author Rion-sensei. They also get in line where Yuta initiates the conversation by thanking her for inviting him. Reading it after a long time felt so nostalgic. She is also grateful for him, and she has also read it when she was in 3rd grade of elementary school. Here it is revealed that she is 19 years old and a vocational student. Yuta is surprised that it has been 10 years since that Devilish as Hell book came out and realizes he is getting old. They talk about their favorite characters in that book and other stuff. Soon, she feels dizzy and cannot stand on her foot. Yuta supports her and takes her to a nearby cafe. After having drinks, she becomes stable and tells him that she remains cooped up in her room, so it seems she has become sensitive to sunlight like a vampire. She bets he would be popular because he has brought her to the cafe as a price with grace. He denies this fact and then thinks about how he is calmly talking with another one. If it was him from a little while ago, he would not have been able to help her at all. Maybe he became more accustomed to women while spending time with Azusa. Yuta shows his relief that Amatera is glad and she does not need to push for an autograph even though she was looking for it. But it's not a big deal for her. She really wanted to meet the author, but meeting him was more than enough. This event was just an excuse. Yuta anxiously asks her if she is sure she is not mistaking him for someone else. She tells him that she was waiting for years to meet him. Yuta is surprised after listening to her about how she wanted to meet him for years. She tells him that it's because he is the Dark Knight sensei. Yuta does not get what she is saying, but then he hits the memory that was sealed in death. It was his pen name that he used in novel posting sites during middle and high school. He asks her how he knows his name, and she tells him that when she was in the Go Home Club in middle school and had no friends, she used to read web novels on posting sites at home. And among them, her favorite was the work of Dark Knight Sensei, but one day his account disappeared suddenly. She did not give up. She searched with his pen name, user ID, and birthday, and even obsessively explored the follower list of former followers. And finally, she was able to find him. Yuta finds it a lot scary as she is his paparazzi. He considers it his more youthful and cautious act, or one can say his dark past, and has horrible expressions. However, Amatera is all excited that it's so pleasant for her to meet him and express her feelings to him. Yuta becomes soft and thanks her without denying his past when she is saying such kind things. She starts to telling him details of his novel and he makes her stop. Then she takes out a colored paper and asks him for his autograph. He is panicked that it's so sudden for an autograph. He has not even practiced it in the past few years, and her staring is also making it hard to focus. Despite that, he signs on paper as Dark Knight. The other thing she requests him is to shake hands with her. She wipes her hands intensively. He reaches out his hand and she shakes her hand. He finds her hands so small, the image of Azusa holding his hands in cinema comes to mind, and he concludes that even if they are a girl's hand, it's different from person to person. Amatera is a ridiculous fan that she thanks for shaking hands and does not want to wash her hands ever. Later, they get their lunch that costs so much and pay their own expenses. She takes off her jacket and finds it cooler. Yuta observes there is a collar around her neck and wonders what it is for. They walk around town and end up getting into the otaku store. Yuta used to watch a lot of anime, but he has not been keeping up with recent ones. Amatera is thrilled and looks around the store. Yuta is hesitant, but she is a 19-year-old girl, acting enthusiastically and grabs a book. Yuta has rebellious thoughts that it might be fun if he has a girlfriend like her who shares a hobby same as him. He pinches himself and does not want to think about it if he got a little closer to her, so he plans to maintain a little distance from her. The time passes and their hanging time comes near to its end. She thanks him for hanging up with her and looks forward to meeting again. Back at home, he uploads his post of giving an autograph to Amatera and goes to take a bath. Azusa is at some bar and smirks when watching his post. Coming back home from work, he chats with Amatera. Since that day, they have been exchanging messages a lot. Amatera sends him photos of small random things that a friend sends to other friends. He has not been in contact with Azusa lately. It's just he has no courage to message her. He wonders why Amatera keeps sending me messages. What if she likes him, but he pinches himself again to get out of these ridiculous thoughts. He does not want to get his hopes high. She just liked the novel he wrote. Since she praised him, he wants to write something again. He recalls something written in the book that if he is having trouble with what to write, then remember the things he can't forget and does not want to forget. He opens a memo book that if Azusa forgets him, he will leave his feelings on a notepad. While he is looking at his phone, a notification pops up of Azusa's text. She is asking what he is doing right now. Reading it shocks him. He gets off the train immediately and runs to her. While panting, he sees her waiting for him and comes to her. She was nearby for work and called him out of the blue, but he did not have to rush like that. She teases him by asking if wanted to see her that much, but he replies that he did not want her to wait for him too long. But it was the opposite for her. She wanted to see him. After saying it, she grabs his arm and takes him to a nearby restaurant to dine. However, Yuta's heart is throbbing, but he wants to calm down. He should be able to dine with a woman face to face. They get to the dining table where it is not arranged face to face but side by side. They sit across the table and are very close to each other. She is very energetic as usual and asks him if he wears a suit on workdays. She loosens his tie from his neck while saying it looks fresh on him. Yuta gets that it's impossible for him to remain calm and stable. Server interrupts them asking for the selected dishes. It's a treat from Azusa, so asks him to eat it with his heart's content, but he knows he will not be able to due to frustration. She initiates a conversation that it has been a while since they met and what he has been doing lately. He tells her that he has a dull routine as ever, work and home. While talking, he receives a ton of messages, but he does not see them. She comes close and puts her hand on his to ask if he has got a girlfriend already. He wonders if Azusa learns he has a girl he is friendly with, then will she still keep around him? He tells her that she is not his girlfriend or something, but a girl from his Twitter invited him to an event last week. Since then, she has been quite friendly with him, and he was wondering how he should take it. He looks at her and sees she has a blank face. She had a blank face at first, but then gets pleased and is rooting for him. He is surprised about her reaction and was expecting something different. She asks him what kind of person she is, and he tells her that she is a 19-year-old teenager with a unique type of fashion sense, and they have met only just for once. She is curious to know if he likes her or not, and Yuta replies in frustration that it's not like that, who in their right mind would fall in love with someone on the first meeting if they were just kind. but it's correct that they have similar hobbies, so he was thinking of dating Amatera. Azusa smirks and encourages him, however, it somehow hurts Yuta. He is trying to take her attention, but she does not get jealous at all. Azusa makes a shocking but obvious statement that if things go right between him and Amatera, then his meeting with her won't be suitable. After all, which girl would want his boyfriend to meet with some other woman? Yuta gets into his own trouble. He was trying to get her attention by talking about Amatera. He confesses about his lie that it's not like that all between him and Amatera. She laughs and teasingly asks him if he was trying to make him jealous. He thought if he mentioned another girl, then she would cling to him. He anxiously tells her that he was putting on airs. Jealous. There is no way anything could happen between them because they are worlds apart from each other. She laughs and asks him if he knows her very well to say they are worlds apart. He agrees with her and regrets that he was playing games with her. She offers to watch their favorite movies at her place this weekend. This way, they will be able to know each other a little bit more. He hesitatingly agrees, and then they go on their ways. He is on the train and feels guilty about Amatera, and that Azusa might dislike him. He makes fake scenarios in mind that what if watching a movie was an excuse? What if she gets so close to him in her exposed outfit and wants to do something indecent? He shrugs his thoughts and then his mobile rings. It's a text from Amatera. He opens her line and finds a lot of messages deleted. He apologizes to her for not being able to. He has not checked his mobile for a while. She replies to him by inviting him to meet this weekend as she has something to discuss and he is the only one she can turn to. Now, Yuta has gotten trapped between deciding on two girls for this weekend's meetup. Yuta dreams about his harem life. His both chicks in their hot outfits surround him and ask him to choose one for the weekend. He can't choose one and says he has no right at all. Then these girls look at him disappointedly and call him a loser. After that, they leave him behind. Yuta gets up from his horrible nightmare. He often sees such dreams, but the reason for this dream is crystal clear. Both girls invited him, and he slept while holding these matters. He does not get why it is happening to him because nothing eventful happened until now. He wonders what normal people do in such situations. Now, he intends to reschedule his timings with both girls, but wonders if it's right for him to meet both girls like this. He always watched the shows where the scumbags do double timings with girls and always thought he would not cheat on the girl he likes or the one who likes him. He comes to the conclusion that he has to turn down one of them after all. He first thinks of turning down Azusa. In this case, it's his unrequited love for her that will never come true, and he does not have the right to love her if he is not sincere with her. But still, he gets into chaotic thoughts. He tries to attract her attention by talking about another girl, but now he is talking about being sincere. On the other hand, Amatera is just a Dark Knight fan and does not want to take advantage of her feelings. She should be around one with her own age fellows. He comes down to turn down Amatera without hurting her feelings. He apologizes to her and tells her about his schedule, and then it's his mother coming on weekends so they cannot meet. She immediately sees her message where she apologizes to him for relying on him too much, but after reflecting on her actions, she has decided to tackle her problems on her own. He is concerned now about what she wanted to discuss about, if it's about getting bullied, but it should not be him she relied on, but her family or friends. So he should be sincere with her and reject her. The awaiting Saturday comes where he has cleaned his room. He is waiting for someone nervously and wonders if he has made the right choice. Someone rings the bell, and surprisingly, it's Amatera at the door, which means he could not reject her. She enters his room and sniffs around to smell his scent. The situation is he has to meet Azusa at night, and he could not reject Amatera, so he planned to listen to her request in the evening. He wants to get done quickly and asks her what she wants to say. She has a ridiculous request about wanting him to be a model to draw for a school assignment. She does not have any male friends to turn to. She has a younger brother, but he looks like her. He asks her what pose he should make, and she makes him sit on his bed. She helps in posing, which also includes helping him in spreading his legs for pose. She is right between his legs and checks his upper body. He makes her attentive, so she gets back in her seat. He makes a pose, and after a while, she is done with sketching him. He looks at the sketch and finds it amazing. She wants to work hard and fulfill her dream after becoming an illustrator and wants him to be his first. He does not get what she means by her first, and his dirty mind takes over. He thinks of her lying on the bed with her body uncovered. She has decided that the first cover page she will draw for her illustration will be for a novel by Dark Knight Sensei. He becomes flabbergasted at first and then tells her he does not have plans for publishing a novel and he has not been writing it lately. She encourages him that he can publish it if he sets his mind to it. She will wait for him to publish a novel until then she won't take any illustration cover jobs. He says if he ever publishes his novel, he will definitely nominate her for cover, and it brings sparkles to her eyes. She thanks him that he has given her a reason for existence. He concerningly asks her why she puts effort into drawing something while looking at a real person. She can take a picture and then draw it. How dumb she is that she has not thought about it before. They both talk about random things and laugh together. Even without having any romantic feelings, it's fun for him that makes him wonder if it's like this having female friends. Suddenly, he receives a message from Azusa that she is already at the station and she might be coming to his home in the next few minutes. He informs Amatera that the friend he was supposed to meet in the evening is coming earlier. So she starts packing her goods and he helps her thinking if they will make it in time. He is acting as if he is cheating on his girlfriend Azusa with Amatera. Yuta readily helps Amatera pack her bag and hopes she does not bump up with Azusa. To take time for her to get away, he texts Azusa that he is not done cleaning his room, so she can give him 10 minutes more. She decides to take a detour then. Amatera is also done packing her things and thanks Yuta at the door for helping her out. When he is about to say something, she hugs him out of the blue and says she is his biggest fan. He is embarrassed and pulls her out and agrees that she is his biggest fan as he does not have any other fans. She acts clingy with him again. He stops her from doing so and makes her go. He goes back to see if Amatera has not left anything behind, and then his mobile rings with a text from Azusa that says she is coming over now. It makes him nervous suddenly, and he anxiously opens the door when she just rings the bell. She is standing with a pretty dress on, and last that he opened the door a bit quickly. She has also brought a cake on his way home. Out of nowhere, she comes close to him and sniffs around his neck. According to her, he smells really nice, and he wonders if it was due to Amatera's hug. He dodges her statement and takes her to his room. She is amazed to see his cleaned room, that it matches his vibe. She sits on his bed after taking her permission and says it's just two of them all night and what they should do now. He imagines a dirty picture and embarrassingly rhetorically asks her if they are watching movies. She laughingly agrees with him and asks him to sit with her. He sits on the bed with a weird posture and the thought that Amatera was in this room earlier, but now it's Azusa. He feels guilty about it and wonders if he should tell Azusa about Amatera being here, but backs down because he cannot mask his guilt by talking about it. She looks at him questionably and asks him if he is thinking about something. She holds his face towards her and says him not to think about anything else tonight. He admits to her request that it's pretty rude of him to think about other things when she has come her way.